When you imagine an advertising agency, you probably see something like the agency in Mad Men. Huge multi-floor office in the middle of New York City, hundreds of employees, real big time. But there are actually all shapes and sizes of agencies all around the world. It could be an office of 4 employees, or 50, or 500. So which size is right for you? Well, the best answer is gonna come from trying it out for yourself. And the early years of your career are a great time to do that. You'll most likely be jumping around from agency to agency every year or two anyway, so try to get some variety in your experience and you'll quickly learn your preferences. But in the meantime, I'll walk you through some of the biggest differences so you know what to expect no matter where you end up. Let's start with the basics. At a big agency, there are hundreds of employees. So many you'll probably never even see half of them. Larger agencies also tend to have multiple offices around the country or the world, so that adds a lot more employees into the mix. At a smaller agency, you could be working with anywhere from 5 people to 40 or 50. And there are mid-sized agencies too, usually from 50 to 100 people, but those can vary a lot in their style and preferences, so for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna focus on big and small. Big agencies have big reputations, so they tend to have more well-known national and international clients. That can mean working on large-scale projects like Super Bowl commercials, regular TV commercials, national campaigns, working with celebrities, the kind of work your parents are more likely to recognize. Small agencies tend to have more local or smaller scale accounts. However, a lot of brands are moving to what we call project-based work, so it's more likely for a small agency to get 1 or 2 projects from a really big brand because of their specific expertise or style. So working at a small agency does not mean you'll never get a chance to work on a really big brand. At a larger agency, employees are typically siloed into working for 1 account, maybe 2. So usually when that big agency is hiring, they're hiring for a specific account. So they'll be looking for candidates that have a certain experience or a certain style that will work well for that account. At a smaller agency, you'll be working on a lot of different clients. There may be weeks or months where you're working mainly on 1 account, especially if you're in the middle of a big campaign or big project, but you will touch multiple accounts throughout the year. And you'll usually be working on multiple accounts at the same time. Because larger agencies silo people into 1 account, they're also able to silo people into very specific roles. Everyone has their own responsibilities and there usually isn't too much overlap. But at smaller agencies, there are way less people to do the same kinds of tasks, so you'd wear many hats, as they like to say. For example, at a large agency, you might have a strategist to write the brief, an account manager to communicate with the clients, and a project manager to coordinate the schedules. But at a small agency, the account manager might do all of those things themselves. So those are the biggest differences. If you're trying to decide which size agency to look at for internships, here are a few things to consider. At a large agency, you'll get the benefit of having a really recognizable agency name on your resume. You'll get to experience a taste of the big leagues with really big, well-known brands. And because of how large the company is, there's a bigger chance that there will be a job opening to move into once your internship is done. At a small agency, they have way less people to work on projects, so they're gonna see you as a big helping hand and give you a lot more responsibilities than you typically get at a larger agency. You'll be able to get to know a lot of the other employees and get more interaction with different departments. Smaller agencies give you great experience for learning the inner workings of an agency. And one big disclaimer here, every agency is different. I am completely generalizing about everything I just said, but just remember, it all comes down to preference. Think about how you like to work and your own personal preferences, and it'll give you a good idea of what kind of agency to pursue. And like I said in the beginning of this video, the best way to find your preference is to try them all on for size. See what I did there? I've worked at both big and small agencies, and I found that my place is at a smaller agency. I get bored working on the same client for too long, and I also just love stretching my role a bit and dipping my toes into things that aren't necessarily writing. So if you have any questions about the differences between a big agency and a small agency, or any other video requests, just let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching.